Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode 2 of What Does This Button Do? It's an educational show about smartphones and tablets with Geeks on Tour. Where we are, well, right now, I'm in Denver, Colorado. And where are you?
I'm not.
You're in Fort Lauderdale. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So, a little bit about us. Go ahead. Have at it, Chris.
Okay. So I'm Chris, and along with Jim there, we are Geeks on Tour. In
And
case
Chris
you don't
is a computer geek. I know for sure because I am her husband and I'm a geek too. Chris had the very first computer training center in South Florida and ran that until 96, I guess, right?
Yep, 83 to 96.
Okay.
And then we met and took to the road, and we live in that motorhome full time, and we find that other people who travel in motorhomes still need to learn technology. So we're still doing computer training. We do it primarily on our website, geeksontour.com. And we're really getting geeky here. At least I feel we're really getting geeky. We're using this Hangouts on Air to do a live show every week.
All right, we're going to try and be organized about the show, and we'll keep it to about a half an hour. And we'll start at the beginning with something that's important for beginners to know and about their phones. And then we'll show the Android and the iPad in this segment. Chris's new Samsung Galaxy S5, she'll show something new that she's learned. And a lot of people have that same phone now, so it's a real good thing to know about. Then I'll go into the app of the week and random tip, and we'll come back to questions, and that's how this whole thing will go. We'll record the whole thing so everybody will be able to watch it a little bit later.
Yeah, and please do ask questions. You can leave them in the comments right below where the video is playing on our Google Plus page. And once we get more comfortable with this, there will be other places you can watch it. You can watch it in YouTube. Somebody last week said they watched it just right in their email program. That's cool. And maybe Facebook also, we can embed this in there. I just have to tell you, though, that after last week, when I had the problem with my iPad, and Jim told me that it was because I was trying to do two things with the iPad. It was being my camera on me, plus I had to switch it over to be the thing that we were demonstrating, because it's the only Apple device we have. So I've gone out and bought myself another tablet. Yes, we are getting really geeky here, and I got a Samsung Galaxy Note 10.1. So that's being my camera. I am not going to show you the Galaxy. It's being my camera. Okay, but we don't want to get too geeky with you guys. Our purpose is to teach. We think that beginners get left out a lot. So what we're going to teach for the beginning segment here today is screen, sleep, wake, and lock. So I need my notes up here, just a second. And I'm going to start with the iPad. So anybody, and because we know a lot of you actually do have both Android and iDevices, so we're going to keep it that. But we have a lot more Android devices than we have iDevices, so I'm always going to start off with the iPad, and then we'll go from there. So I'm going to switch this around so that you see the iPad in front of me. How's that, Jim?
That's pretty good.
Okay. So here, what's the point? the point is, have you ever been doing this? You've ever been looking at your screen and kind of studying it and trying to figure out what to do, and all of a sudden it goes blank on you. You say, oh, darn. And you have to press the home button, remember, like you learned last week. Then you have to unlock it. Then you might even have to put in a passcode. And now, by that time, you've forgotten where you were and what you were studying. So what I want to show you is how you control that screen time out. On the Apple devices, that's called lock, auto lock. So it's under the general, and it's down here a little bit. Auto lock is set to 2 minutes. So that means that your screen will automatically lock, go black, turn the screen off, and make you unlock it to get back after 2 minutes. That's really not too bad, but if you find that it goes black on you before you're ready, then just change that to 5 minutes. Now, why would you not want to put it to never? Just want you to think about that a little bit. That's the screen uses the most battery. So the shorter you make your screen auto lock, the less battery you will use. Now, if you have it plugged in and you want it to stay on forever, then you could go in here and make it be never. I'm going to make it be 5 minutes. Okay, so that's in the settings. Oh, and I don't think I got in there from scratch, did I? In case some of you, real beginners, I said we're going to deal with beginners. This is your home screen. You need to find your settings icon, tap it, and then it's general, and then it's auto lock. All right, but what about the rest of it? I find it's kind of a pain to have to put in that code. There's a reason for that code, though, and that is if you leave, let's say you forgot your iPad somewhere, you left it on the seat in the airplane, or you left it in a cafe, you don't want anybody to be able to pick it up and get into it. So that's what that passcode is for, and that's under security. Or on this one, a passcode is just right there on the front part of the menu. Now, if you're going to change your passcode, you need to prove that you know the current one. Mine right now, since I've been playing with this, I just made it 1111. So what are the different kinds of passcodes? A simple passcode means 4-digit number. But if you'd rather have a password, what you do is you just turn off simple passcode. You have to put in your current postcode, and now you can enter in a whole word, but I don't want to do that. And the second thing that's important, notice you can turn the passcode off completely. If you turn off passcode lock, then when your device goes to sleep, and I'm just going to push the sleep-wake button here to show it, and you wake it back up, you still have to do this slide, but you will not have to do the passcode. But that's a bad idea. Then you have no security on this device at all. So what I recommend, it's good to have a passcode, but I don't want it to ask me for it every single time. So we go in here, we do turn passcode on, and I'm just making it 1111. 1111. But I don't want it to require the passcode immediately after it goes to sleep. I don't want it to change my underlying passcode there. So if you choose 1 hour instead of immediately, let's say you choose 1 hour, that means when it goes to sleep, if you wake it up again within a minute or two, it won't ask you for the passcode. It has to be asleep for an hour before waking will ask you for a passcode. So I think that's the best, and you might want to make that 15 minutes. So that means when you are in possession of your iPad and you turn it off, when you wake it up, it's not going to require that passcode. But if you leave it at a restaurant and it sits there for 15 minutes, when somebody else picks it up, it will require a passcode. Now, there's one other thing. If you have an iPhone 5, you have the option of swiping your finger across the home button and having your fingerprint unlock it. Now, that's really cool. That if you have the iPhone 5, you should learn how to teach it your fingerprint. Okay, what do you think? Can you think of anything else I need to show them on the iPad, Jim?
No, that looks pretty good, Chris. It really is a good example there. So let's take a look and see what it does on my phone. So here's my phone. So we want to go to settings. And there are a couple of ways to get to settings depending on how you're looking at this. And then I go to, what was the first thing? Display?
Display. Yeah, so you want it, how long does it take before it automatically blanks out?
All right. So that would be probably screen timeout here. So can you see that, screen timeout? I set this when I'm doing one of these shows to a long, like 10 minutes. Normally I have it set at 2 minutes. So after 2 minutes of inactivity, the screen will go off. And the reason that you want the screen to go off, obviously, is to save the battery. Okay? And what was the next one?
The other one was a passcode. You know, how, when, and what kind of passcode should it require when you try to wake it up?
Okay. So the lock screen would be where that happens. And you can choose different patterns or unlock effects, how it should do. If you want to lock it automatically, you can lock it instantly with a power key. And
so tap that top option there, right under screen lock.
Whoops.
The very top. The very top. Screen lock secured with pattern, yeah.
Okay. So I have to, first of all, prove that I am the owner of this with a pattern. And then I can use a PIN, medium to high security.
Yeah, so you're just pressing the back button so that you don't actually change your security, right? Yeah, we could really mess ourselves up here.
It's easy to do, that's for sure. So, but yeah, did you say if it asks for a passcode every time, it can be annoying, so you can set that timing off too? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want me to show on the Android while I'm here?
Well, why were 3 of those options grayed out? And there was face unlock mode too, right? But they're grayed out.
Screen, yeah.
Under screen lock, the very top one. Now, I mean, and I know what, yeah.
Screen lock, there are choices there, but the only choices that I have available, and the reason that they have a higher security is that we use our phones for Foxfi, right?
Right. At least that's what I've discovered.
Right. If we didn't have Foxfi and we weren't using that for our Wi-Fi hotspots, we could use any of the simpler unlock patterns.
Right, and I know a lot of our followers also use Foxfi, so thought I'd make a point of that. Okay, then switch back to me. So your phone is a Samsung.
That's right.
Now, a lot of people have Android phones that are not Samsungs. So let me show you. So I still have, this is my old phone. You know, just because it's not my phone anymore doesn't mean that the device still doesn't work. And so this is a Motorola Android device. And the way you get to your settings in almost all Android devices now, if you drag down from the top, you should see a little gear icon. And that gear is what gets you into settings. So, yes, it's still a display. And I really like this one, finally, uses language that I think makes sense. Sleep. It says sleep after 15 seconds of inactivity. Now, that's going to be way too short. That's going to be so annoying. I say either 2 minutes or 5 minutes. You know, if you set it to 5 minutes and you find that your battery drains too fast, then that's something to change. And then in the screen lock, I need to go back, and that's a little arrow up at the top to go back to the previous list of settings, and then security and screen lock. And here, there's the same thing, screen lock, and I have a pattern, but turning the passcode off completely is not available because of Foxfi having been installed. Now, I said this is my old phone. It doesn't have a data connection anymore, so how could I use Foxfi? I can't. But I uninstalled it, and I still couldn't get this back. If anybody knows how to get these options back, because since this is my old phone, I really don't use it, I just as soon take the screen lock passcode off completely and set it back to none. But I can't do it because I, at one time, had Foxfi on this. I think that's so once again, what we're talking about is you don't want your screen to go black before you're ready for it. You can always press the power button and turn your screen off at any time, and you really, really should. In fact, that's something that I thought of after last week's show on the home button. A good habit to get into, especially when you've been making phone calls. So if you make a phone call and you're done with the phone call, you should not only hang up, but you should always finish by home and then turn off. That will lessen your possibility of pocket dialing somebody.
That's always a good idea, absolutely.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. So we're on to, have we gotten any questions on that? Let me take a look. I can look at the screen, see if we've gotten any questions.
Okay.
Oh, David Cross says he doesn't see anything. I think, do other people see? We haven't been just talking to ourselves here, have we?
Well, says it's going. It says it's live.
Okay.
All right. All right. Well, is it time for me to do my my app?
Sure. App of the week.
All right. So, back to my Samsung. My app of the week this week is the MyCast app for the Android. MyCast Weather Lite is the free version, and they have a $3.99 version too. It's also available for the iOS, the iPads, and the iPhones for $3.99 in the App Store, and for the Windows Phone. I've been using MyCast for many years, and even before Garmin bought it, it worked on my old PC, and I could keep a list of my favorite places. As full-time RVers, we want to be on top of the weather wherever we are. So it's really important to okay, that looks better. So with mobile devices, you can have all the information wherever you are, wherever you need it. Current information, local forecast for the hour or the week.
Just a second, Jim.
Yeah.
Can we maybe back up in case we have somebody who has never even downloaded an app? Do you want to just show Play Store and how they would find this app?
Yeah, sure. So I want to go back to my Play Store. And of course, I don't have that there. Play Store, right up there. And search for the app. And I know that it's called MyCast, M-Y. And I already had found it, so I'm going to just use that, My-Cast. Now you can just search for weather, but you'll get whatever weather items that Google thinks you want. If you know you want MyCast, then you want to put in My-Cast. And there are the two apps up there. The Lite is the free version, and I've installed that, the MyCast Weather, digital cyclone owned by Garmin, through $3.99, and the same way on your iDevice. Okay. So let me get out of there.
Yeah, and there are lots of other weather apps, but we have been using this MyCast for a long time. Even before the smartphones, you were using it just on the computer, weren't you, Jim?
Yeah, and
that is our go-to app for finding out if we're going to be in trouble with a storm coming. But I know there's lots of others, so if somebody has a favorite and they want to leave it in the comments, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, the main problem with most apps in general, and any weather app in particular, there are just so many out there, and some of them aren't all that good, and it means that finding usable apps is time-consuming, and it can get expensive, even at $3.99 a pop. Other apps of note, WeatherBug is out there. That's a good one. Weather Channel has one. Weather Underground. I'll put up some links to some of these pages so that you can find them. But anyway, current right now, I can see trends. I can see forecasts, what it's going to be on each day. I can go by hour. If there were any alerts, that would show up here. And the radar is just really fast and easy, and it works really, really well.
Yeah, that's what I use the most, is I just look at the radar. What's coming our way and how bad is it?
Right, and you can always see those alerts. It's very important for travelers. Okay, so.
Whoa, it's 93 degrees there, huh? It's hotter where you are. It's hotter in Colorado than it is in Florida. Yeah.
How about that? That's not too unusual. That happens pretty regularly around where we are, I think. Okay.
And as I recall, it even it beeps and buzzes if there's a tornado watch or a tornado warning, whichever is the worst one.
Oh yeah. If
it alerts us, right?
If something's going on, it'll tell you there pretty quickly what's going to be happening. So tornadoes, severe thunderstorms, things like that. It'll show up floods. We've had to run from some floods. We've only really had to run from
one in Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota, Albert Lee.
Yeah, Albert Lee was the only place we had to. Okay. All right, so that is our favorite weather app. It's called My-Cast, and we use the free version. Now it's my turn to show you just a cool thing on my Samsung Galaxy S5. And this, actually, it's not unique to the Galaxy S5. Jim first showed me this on his Note 3. It's controlling your camera via voice. Now, why would you want to do that? Let me show it to you first, and then I'll show you how you make it work. So I have my phone, you're seeing my phone right now, set in selfie mode.
So you're doing a selfie there, okay.
I want to do a selfie and I want to wave. Now, I don't have a hand left to press the shutter button. I'm holding the phone with one hand, waving with the other, but I can just say, smile, and it took the picture. Could you tell that? I don't know if you could hear the click, but smile, and it took the picture. You got to be careful. If you say the word just in the middle of a sentence, it's still going to do it. So then you can see that there's the picture it took. Now, where is the setting that makes that happen? It's not on by default because they don't want you to accidentally be talking and your phone just starts snapping pictures. So it's a setting. And if you've never visited the settings on your phone camera, then that's something you really want to do. This little gear is the universal sign for settings. I tap there, and the Galaxy S5 has a ton of camera settings. This is the one I'm talking about, voice control. Let me turn it, can you see that? Yeah, let me turn it off first. So when you tap it to turn it on, it shows you, well, to take pictures, you can use the word smile, cheese, capture, or shoot. And you can also record video by saying record video. I have used this, and I keep using it more and more and more, that I find I'm not going to bump the phone and get a jerky picture if I just talk the command. So that's my tip for the day on the Samsung Galaxy S5, but it also works on the Note phones. So let's see.
That looks good.
I do see a couple questions here. Art asks, he says, we are still using flip phones, so this would be a big change for us. I would like some tips on criteria of which phone from Verizon, in our case, makes sense for a couple of full-time seniors. Oh, well, that's a big question. Because there are literally hundreds of choices. And you know what? It's really not a bad thing to do, is to ask your friends and family. What they're using is a reasonable thing for you to get, because the main way you learn these is as you go, and whoever is sitting beside you that might know how to do what you want to do. So if you have friends and family with a certain type of phone, I would get that kind of phone.
You know, if you have somebody really young that you trust, that's a good idea too.
They're not always the best at teaching you, but they understand these. They understand these things. But that said, so iPhone has the reputation of being easier to use. There's still stuff to learn. There's still plenty to learn, but it is a little less volume of features and more people that know how to use it. And since it's all by Apple, they all work pretty much the same. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's easy to use, but it is simpler than the Android. So that's one thing. But if you're anything like us and you want to have all the bells and whistles, for example, that little voice control camera tip, if you had an iPhone, there is no setting like that. Now, I think there might be an app that will do that, but it's just something built in the Samsung. You have anything else to add, Jim?
No, I think that pretty much covers it right there.
I mean, those are your two main choices, is iPhone or Android. Then there's also Windows Phone. I mean, if you have a Windows 8 computer and you want the best camera, the Windows phones have a really good reputation for that.
Yeah, we thought for a little bit there that we were going to get a Windows phones, but that just didn't happen.
All right. Now, Don Davidson asks, I use Gmail on my iPad. How do I send direct to trash my emails and not archive them? Well, that I can show you pretty easy. At least the way, I think it's pretty easy. So maybe there's part of your question that I don't understand. But we use Gmail on all of our devices, and we highly recommend that. I do not on any of my devices use the mail app that came built in. I always install and use Gmail, because then if I delete an email on my iPad, it is deleted when I look at my computer or my phone. So it's let's see, let's make sure I get one here that I really do want to delete. So all right.
All right, we had a video that you wanted to show here too, didn't you?
I don't think we have time for that. I'll show it. So this is something that, so if you just press the little delete the trash can in the upper right hand corner, then that message that was showing is gone. It's not archived. It's deleted, but it's in your trash. Maybe that's something that is confusing to you. The trash still stays there, and you can also, there's little check boxes, so you can delete several. Yeah, you can checkbox several of them, and when you press the trash can, all of those will be deleted. So that's deleting from Gmail on the iPad. Yeah, another question we had this week was, how do you transfer pictures from a camera to a Galaxy Note tablet? And since that happens to be the brand new tablet that I just went and bought, I figured it out and I did a video on that. And I will post the link to that video. I think people can just watch that on their own. So I'll post the link to that video in the comments here. I can do that right now.
Okay, and while you're doing that, what else do we have going on? Something for next week, should we talk about?
Yeah, I put that in the notes. Transfer pictures.
Okay.
Camera to tablet.
Next week, we'll get into multitasking. Please leave your questions down here in the comments. There's a show set up for next week, or will be a show for next week. Make sure to click you're coming and leave any questions there, and we'll be there pretty quick.
Okay, I had some review questions there, I think. Oh, wait, here's another question. Lois Finney asks, what is the best way to use an iPhone in Europe so as not to incur a lot of data or phone charges? I think we can use the camera and put pics in Dropbox, but what about using maps, etc.?
Yeah, it's not really a good thing going on when you're over there, because data is really, really expensive. What you might want to do is get a phone while you're over there, pay as you go. All of them are actually pay as you go, and turn it in when you're done. You can rent phones with data, and the voice isn't so bad, but when you really want to get the data, and that's the important thing for most of us travelers now.
Now we did. Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right.
Finished? Sorry.
Yeah, you gotta interrupt me.
None of you guys out there have wives that interrupt you, do you?
No, that never happens. So, but anyway, with the data, you really want to either have a world phone that you can put another SIM card in when you're overseas, or that sort of thing, or just rent one while you're there.
Now, we haven't actually gone overseas with ours. We have been on a cruise ship, and we wanted to make sure to put it in airplane mode. And we do have videos on our membership site on putting your phone into airplane mode. But we did do a hangout, over the holidays, right, Jim, with our friend Phil May of Techno RV. He was in Europe. He was in England when we were doing our hangout together with him, and he talked about how he used his phone, and he did use maps. So I think he actually got a SIM card, he still had his phone, but he went to a local cellular company and got the little SIM card that goes inside the phone so that it could be a European phone.
Right.
There's lots of different ways.
Not all phones can do that, though, so that's just something that you would have to make sure of. That's all. You know.
Okay.
Okay.
And one other person asked, what does Foxfi do? And that also, we have video on our website, on geeksontour.com, under our tutorial videos and smartphones. We have a video on Foxfi. It is for making your phone into a hotspot without paying the extra fee to your provider. Okay, yeah, review questions.
Well, we use Foxfi for getting internet on to our other devices. That's all. So why do we need to turn the screen? Need the screen to turn off on its own? Why would you want to do that, Chris?
Okay. Well, I'm going to let them think about it for a second, and then it's because the screen uses the most battery, and you want to avoid that, you know, unless you always have it plugged in, which I doubt.
Okay. How can you control the length of inactivity before it turns back on?
All sorts of settings, and please take a look at your settings. Just browse around on them. But this is a setting called different things on the iPad. It's called Auto Lock. On one of the Androids, it is called Sleep, and on another one, it was called, what was it? Anyway, it's in the settings under Display. Timeout, right.
Okay. And do we have to enter a passcode every time?
You know, if you've had an iPhone for a long time, you may remember the days when there was no passcode required. It, by default, started requiring a passcode with iOS 7, and it also, by default, made it require that immediately upon locking. So that's a really cool setting to know about, that you can change that to 15 minutes. So when you're just working with your phone or your device, you don't have to be putting in that passcode.
Okay. Well, it looks like Chris just left us. So I guess it's time to close up. Well, that's it for this week for What Does This Button Do? And did you learn something? And if your screen goes black while you're looking at it, what do you do? Okay. So we'll do next week multitasking. Leave your questions. We'll be back.